Okay. All right. Welcome. I am Alison Vickery. I'm the president of the Alberta Lymphedema Association, which is a patient-centered, volunteer-run charity organization which seeks to spread awareness, educate, and improve access to care for Albertans with lymphedema. This evening, I'm joined by Voula Pantelis. Sorry if I said that wrong.
Perfect.
You'll
Perfect.
correct me. The general manager of Amoena Canada. Amoena has been a global leader in post-breast surgery options for over 50 years. So Voula herself comes with over 22 years of experience in the industry. She's very passionate about breast care education and leads a team of 8 knowledgeable women who share her passion. She is a loyal supporter of breast cancer research and is the government liaison for Breast Cancer Canada in the Toronto area. And then more recently, you co-authored a book called She Thrives, which puts together the shared experiences of 22 women navigating health, hormones, and healing, and actually reached #1 on Amazon the first week of publishing, which I didn't know. So that was
Yeah.
an interesting new fact that I learned about you this week.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Allison. Yeah. I mean, it's still, on Amazon and, it's just a beautiful collection of experiences from many different women in Canada. So that was fun. It was a fun project. But thank you for having me. And, we're recording this because I think, once you have it, you can share it and it's easier to. And if there's any questions, because there's, not too many of us today on here, if they come your way, Allison, let me know and I can help navigate that as well. You have my contact.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. We do have a lot of people always tune in to the recording, so I'm sure we'll get some questions.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so let me just start by introducing a little bit about Amona. And again, I'm from Canada. We're based out of Mississauga, Ontario, and the office kind of opened up when I started. So it has been about 22 and some years. So, and we are a global company. Basically, we're the only company in the world that is a one-stop shop for any woman that's having either breast cancer surgery or any type of breast surgery and issues. And, if you look us up, because tonight we're just going to talk about, lymphedema and what the options are and a little bit about that topic. We cover so many different scenarios in women that have challenges post surgery. So, breast forms, lymph care, of course, lingerie and swimwear, as well as post surgery recovery care, which is critical to health and well being after surgery. So Amona is actually a Latin word. It means grace and charm, the lovely, the beautiful. And it was started by a chemist in 1975 in Germany. So now we are in over 70 countries, actually 75 now. And we are based in Germany. So you have a lot of German engineering, research and development. We're the only company in the industry that spends millions of dollars every year to just come up with incredible technology and whatever women need, we're constantly evolving. So we're pretty proud of that. And this looks complicated, but it really isn't because basically it's a path that shows how we follow that woman once she's diagnosed. So the primary target we have is breast cancer diagnosed women, and then what they need thereafter. So what type of treatment they're having, how can we learn from what they need, wound healing after surgery, scar management, and then we've got post-surgery garments, of course. And then we've got lymphedema care, of course, because that is a rising concern for those that are having any type of breast surgery, etc. So basically, we have everything a woman would need um, after any type of breast surgery. So those that will watch this video and the lovely woman that's on here with us tonight, the question is, what is lymphedema? What does it have to do with breast cancer? And I think more and more we're realizing that it has a lot to do with it because it depends on the type of surgery For example, this is, I just came up with, I did a little bit of research myself and then, initially, so this was about a year ago where the stats were saying between like 25 to 90% develop breast associated lymphedema because of surgery or radiation, even chemotherapy, which damages the lymphatic system at times. So it's a lot higher than I thought when I started understanding what the whole lymphatic system is about and any compromise that goes on the lymphatic system through surgery, what an impact it has. And it's something that women are, even general practitioners or even surgeons, they're not as fluent in this conversation. It's very misunderstood, right? You're nodding your head. It really is, and there's so much education, and we're still learning. We introduced options about 4 years ago, and we seem to be learning something new every single week because every case is different. So it's kind of sad to see how high the percentages are now. They're up to the past year, 94%, with the bulk of it being about 63% is what's happening. That's really high because of that, and then you look at the other areas that might have back lymphedema and thoracic, so the lateral part, and it all has to do with the type of breast surgery they may have. So what does that mean? It gives, for those that are fully aware, you've got the breast looks completely different. Fibrotic tissue, perhaps on the skin, pain, obviously fluid edema formation. It may get tight and restrict movement. So for those that know, I'd say, and you can correct me, Allison, if you know differently, is that we say there are about 60 lymph nodes in that chest, in that area. So breast, underarm, etc. And what we find is if a woman has had mastectomy or even a lumpectomy or a partial tissue of the breast removed, depending on what stage the cancer is, the surgeon will go into the lymph nodes to see, if they're clear or not. And sometimes they do that even just to be very proactive, even if she's in very early stages. They do go in, like, for example, distal area here within the breast tissue, but not under the arm. And in that case, they say if they remove about 3 or more lymph nodes, it significantly increases the chances of lymphedema developing. But I've seen in the years that I've been in this industry, there are women that have had maybe 1 or 2 removed and developed it. So, and then if it's not managed early enough, and consistently, then it can progress, and then it's not reversible, and that's really something that everyone wants to avoid. So, there's a lot to it. A little bit of repetition here. More lymph nodes removed, the more likely lymphedema will occur. But what we find with surgeries in the breast area is that the edema and the fluid buildup will happen in that area. And then if it's not managed and it's persistent, it can go very well down the arm. And that's when it's gone down the arm, it's because it wasn't managed in the thoracic area and the chest area, typically. Okay. So some may know of these stages. It's interesting because Alison, I don't know if you note them as stage 0 to 3. I know in the States they definitely do, because we did a session this morning with an expert, Brandy, that I sent you that information. In the US, they say stage 1 to 4. The same thing, it's just that we started 0, meaning it may not be visible, but something's happening, and it's very manageable. If it's caught early, again, stage 1, the same thing, very mild. It might be on and off, again, can be reversed. But when we get into the heavier areas where stage 2 and 3, then it needs to be managed daily. And sometimes it's really rough and it takes over the person's life, and really needs to manage pretty much daily. For those therapists, they know that there's the decongestion phase, which is really important. And then once that's successful, then there's the maintenance phase, which is something, again, if they're in stage 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 in the latter part, that's when it becomes part of their life. Graphic images here, but this is typical, and we do focus on the breast lymphedema. And you'll see due to radiation on the left, definitely, it's caused the redness is blatantly obvious when it comes to radiation. This is what it looks like. And then, the fullness of the tissue in the breast here, you see her right breast is very, loose and normal. And then you've got the left breast that's very hard and very swollen. That is not normal, but it's manageable. Okay, so we've got pain is involved, restriction on movement. Radiation is nobody's friend. It can be very rough for the women. And then when it's managed, then it gets better, but the edema can continue. Sorry for the graphic images, but at least we know what they look like. And then some more medical background here. Other areas or reasons why lymphedema may develop. Sometimes it has nothing to do with surgery at all. It's just that they're susceptible to it, or it's hereditary, etc. But breast surgery is one of the most common. Especially if they've been, undergone surgery, and if they're not wearing the right fitting bras, they're too tight. They're cutting off kind of fluid flow, and the lymphatic system is compromised. That never helps either. So they say also between 3 and 6 months after chemotherapy, radiotherapy is where the bulk of the lymphedema will develop, if it does. Well, that's my 63% that I mentioned. And within a year, it can go on average up to 80%, which is a lot. It's very, very high. This is, I kind of mentioned some of it too. Things, solutions, I guess, is, scar management, cleanliness, etc. And then there's always that mental health part too. For anything that has to do with the body and pain and discomfort, we kind of forget about that. And what we deal with a lot. We are not lymphedema therapists, but we see a lot of women that are struggling with it, and we try to help them with the proper options and garments. I can see that the mental health is always a conversation, and if we can manage it and assure them that this is not going to be every day if they follow the instructions and wear what they're supposed to, that is so much better for them. Right. And then sometimes they just wait too long, or they're not good at keeping up with the routine, etc. But we try to instill that. So if we look at the type of options that Amoena offers for truncal lymphedema, and we don't do sleeves, we just do the breast and the chest area. These are products we launched I'd say about 4 going on 5 years now, and I'll go through each of them. There's the Adressa stage 0-1 is obviously very early, but it's critical that it's attended to, because as we know, if we're not managing it there and identifying that there's an issue and it's recurring, then it could very well go to a stage 2 or 3, what we want to prevent. So the first product that we absolutely love, and it's the #1 seller in the world, actually. It's called Linda. There's a lot of information here, but that's okay. It's just specific size, etc. color. We have various colors now. So what's different about this one, and you can see it on the right side of this slide here, is that it's, first of all, it's seamless, so there's no digging in anywhere. It's heat sealed when it's instead of sewn, okay? And then the fun stuff is, I think you can see it here as well as at the bottom here. There's a patent technology called Sensolast that has those ridges that you see, almost like tracks, that are under the arm in a very critical spot where we need it most. Any woman would need it, actually. I think it's great for everybody. It's silicone, basically silicone, and then covered in that soft fabric. It's super, super soft. So What's interesting about this one is that it does have some compression. It's not measured compression, and it's not like a recovery care garment that you have to have X number, millimeters of mercury in it, etc. It's a mild compression. It's super comfortable and soft, and it does have that textured fabric through silicone tracks under the arm where the trouble spot usually begins. If it's in the breast area or chest, it is usually under the arm as well, and that's where the trouble starts. And the Linda can also be worn under other compression garments if the woman needs more compression, for example, because she's needing to manage it every single day. So the Linda is our number one seller. It comes in 4 colors. It's a beautiful bra, and because it's so comfortable, we basically sell this to any woman because it feels like a hug. Who doesn't want a hug, right? So that is great. And then we've got Leanne. It's a textured fabric. You can almost see it in the slide here, but you might be able to see it in the camera. It's textured all the way on the tummy area, on the side, and on the back. And therapists say this is really great for back lymphedema and also tummy lymphedema. It's not so much only for the chest area, and it's great for layering. The woman that we had speak for us, Brandy, who's the CEO of the International Lymphedema and Wound Management in the Institute in the U.S., did a couple of sessions for us. She's amazing. And what we learned is that she loves to layer with this. She uses our products. She recommends them because they work beautifully. And something like this can be worn layered. If it's cold outside, you can wear a Linda under, although you don't really need to because it does have like a bra inside, and also for sleeping. And so that comfort, you don't want too much compression at nighttime. Some are very uncomfortable and not necessary, but if they wear nothing at night and they're in stage 2 or 3, then it can really build up by the morning. So this one really helps as well. We do have swimming tops and bottom as well. These sell just with our regular suits. And then we get into the more serious options, which is for stage 2, beginning of 3. And this one's called Lymph Flow. And again, this one is textured. You can see here it shows the outline. See that? It's way more raised and textured than the Leanne top. It's front closure if there's mobility issues. All of these, the top and the bras can be opened up and stepped in to if they have serious mobility issues. But then they're front closure, like this one is front closure, so they can get in and out very easily. So this is great for obviously everyday wear. It's not thick and heavy, so that you can put it under just regular clothes. And this is recommended to wear basically every day if the woman's in stage 2 and 3. They have the hook and eye straps, so that's easy to get into and adjust. And then you've got this one here called Lymph Flow. This one's the heavy duty one. And what I mean by that is that when we talked about silicone tracks and channels, this one has like major 3D all the way in the back, on the side. See that? And this is for the woman that really has to manage it every single day. It's not recommended to sleep in this one because it's very tight, circular knit, almost borderline flat knit is where it's categorized. So it's very sturdy. It's like armor, and it's that way because it needs to be. So this is daytime undergarments. It's great, meaning you can wear like a top over it. And this one also comes in 2 colors. So it's again front closure because we've got the zipper there. The only thing is that it does have a magnet to make sure that when it's put on, there's a little magnet here to make sure that if a woman has mobility issues, it kind of sticks on, and then she could clip it and zip it up. If she has a pacemaker, we don't recommend it, although the magnet is quite far away from where the pacemaker would be, but we recommend not. There's other options. She doesn't necessarily have to wear this one. So this one is really highly recommended for those that are really struggling every single day. And then the accessories we have is this here, a simple medical grade silicone square. And we have a small one and we have a big one, about that big, that can be cut. The great thing about this is that therapists say that, when you're wearing a Linda or the Leanne or any of these other garments and there's a trouble spot that you're trying to deal with, that's when you put this in place. So they work together, as in the picture here. So this lady is wearing, the flow, the lymph flow long, and then she's adding this. The other great thing about this is that there's no allergies because it's medical grade, as well as if the trouble spot gets hot, you can put this in the fridge and then for 5 minutes and then put it against the skin. It's really refreshing. And again, you can cut it. It's great. And it's washable, reusable. It comes with a cleaning kit. And we do really well with these because they just work beautifully. A lot of the products out on the market, which work well, but they're fabric, right? So fabric, they're thick, they're bulky, perhaps a little more difficult to keep clean. So as far as I know, from an affordable standpoint in medical grade, we are the only ones that have this for now, which is great. And then we've got what we call the breast shell. Okay, it looks kind of like a cap thing. And it's one size, but on the inside, there's little lines that the woman can cut to her breast size, her cup size. And so it's one size, but then you cut it. And it does have the 3D little bubbles there, and that, as we know, any type of texture with movement really breaks down the fibrotic tissue, gets things flowing again, softens the area. And these two accessories have been incredibly successful because they just work in conjunction with the garments very, very well. And then we have a new product, but it's not really that new. We were at the International Lymphedema Conference in Niagara in October, and we have a very simple product, as you see at the bottom here. It's called Beana Boob. Funny name. It wasn't us that created this. I'd say about 25 years ago, a woman, a survivor, created these little products with tiny little pellets, plastic pellets in it that are recyclable. And it's a very soft kind of leisure form. And she created this because, for those that didn't want to wear breast form, and at the time, there weren't that many options with regards to light or super light breast forms. And women were saying it's kind of heavy. And especially for the older ladies, they have posture issues. So she came up with this. And she's since passed away, and her family wanted to keep the legacy going. So we invested in the trademark. So we honor her. I met her, 20 some odd years ago. Lovely lady, a lot of respect, very passionate. And so we took this on. And why I'm include this in here is because of the little tiny pellets that are inside. If the woman is wearing it in her cup, just kind of leisure form, it's an incredible massage. It feels beautifully comfortable. It molds to the bra cup. And also it does this kind of massaging as the woman is moving, hence helping with the lymphatic drain as well. So cool little product, very inexpensive, and why not? All right, so before I get into an incredible guide that we created with Brandy, who's the CEO, as I said, of the International Lymphedema and Wound Care in the US. It's a nice little guide that you can, of course, Allison, share with whoever because it's really, really helpful. I wanted to talk about balance, and I think every woman kind of needs to keep this top of mind. If a woman has had breast surgery and it's compromised her weight. Okay, one breast is bigger than the other because she had a partial mastectomy or she had a mastectomy, and she's not balancing her weight on her chest. I have forever seen issues with posture, and they're digging their strap in on the heavier side, which also impedes on the lymphatic system and flow, causes a lot of edema in the shoulder and back area. So in conjunction with just really not being comfortable and not balancing themselves, it also can cause additional issues with lymphedema. So I do take a moment to talk about how important balance is. Now, there are a few women, about 30% of us have one breast bigger than the other that's apparent. Okay, so every woman has one breast bigger than the other, but it's usually quite subtle. And then you've got that other category where it's noticeable and they just live with it, that's fine. But if you have a woman that has a cup or two different in breast size, that's a problem. And that's where we talk to, RMTs and osteopaths and chiropractors, and it's a real simple fix. So just keep in mind that balance is really important. And if the woman has, a compromised side or lymphatic system and she's tightening that strap because she feels she's imbalanced, she's just lifting the heavier breath, that's the reason. And that's why I bring it up, is because balance could be part of this as well. And then just, lymph care solutions. I think we all know that healthy body weight is important, exercise, good skin health, high temperatures is not really the best thing for anyone that's dealing with lymphedema. Compression is critical, even in the beginning, even more in the beginning, so we can manage it nice and early, etc. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share two more things. I wanted to also include a quick conversation about the different types of texture that we may see with lymphedema. So in the beginning, so stage 0, you might have a watery kind of, so it's called edema, the fluid buildup, and it's watery. It's not hard. It's not kind of odd feeling, etc. The next stage would be what they call doughy, and then woody when it's super hard. At this point, you're in stage 2 or 3. It could be fatty, so lumpy, spongy, and then fragile. Allison, you might know this already from Stride, but this is just the different types of textures. And every time there's a different type of texture of lymphedema as a result of lymphedema, it means that a different garment is going to be recommended. So do you need a heavy duty, armor? Like I said, the lymph flow for someone that has watery, doughy, not necessarily. But if they're woody and it's very hard and you press it, it's hard, that's when you have a lot of fibrotic tissue that really needs to be broken down, and it's a lot of work to manage it. And then there would be different products for that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that, and then I'm going to, let me just open up that beautiful sheet I sent you, compression guide. I thought I had it open, but I don't. And then this is the last part that I will look at. And here it is. Okay. So with the expert in the US, we definitely have experts here too, but we found her in the International Lymphedema Conference, and she made a big talk about how texture is critical for lymphedema and management, and then not all textures are the same depending on the type of where the stage the woman is in. So this guide here, I kind of covered it already, but verbally, here is a guide that we put together with her that helps any type of therapist, consultant, or even a woman that is dealing with lymphedema by herself and wants to just make some decisions. This is a great chart because it lists the type of what the product is. So I covered most of them. and then when it would be needed. So the recommended use, so this one, the Linda, which sells is our number one seller, would be say stage 0 and 2, 1 or 2. 2, you kind of need a little more texture on that. So what we're looking for is if the area is watery and putty. So it's not too hard, meaning it can be managed and flushed out. So the Linda is great with that. The lymph flow long, very similar. So stage, but it's not stage 0 anymore. It's stage 1 and 2, and then watery, putty, and then the woody tissue may be on and off, but it's there, it's started. And then the lymph flow, which is the armor, lots of texture, really, 3D tracks in order to help that woody tissue, fibrotic tissue to break that down. And then the Liane top, which I showed, is great for sleeping and can be layered with the Linda in the daytime and then can be worn at nighttime. So these are really nice little options. We do have legging as well. It's very low compression. It's not one of those heavy duty, competitive for those that are really struggling with lymphedema, perhaps in the groin area and in the upper leg area. It's more it could be for everyday use for lipedema. So not so much lymphedema, but lipedema is great. And then we've got the breast shell I mentioned, the pad, and then I do have on here the recovery care garments that can also be used. These are specifically the indication was in creation with a top surgeon in Germany was specifically for post-surgery. And each of them were created for a specific type of breast surgery. But it can also be used for lymphedema only because these ones have measured a range of millimeters of mercury. So if, let's say, a therapist or a doctor is saying, I need you to get into, one that has at least 17 millimeters of mercury, then one of these, because the lymphedema products that we recommend up here we have no secure millimeters of mercury because we did not test for that, because it's millimeters of mercury that we need for recovery care so much more than we would need for lymph in our case, in what we're studying. So the Layla has mild, low compression, medium. So this one would go 15 to 17 millimeters of mercury. Sina is 18 to 20, and then this one is higher compression over 20, so 20, 23. So this is like the insurance level compression. And they're great. These are not textured. Just also know that if a woman is dealing with lymphedema, trunk, breast, and needs that texture in order to break down the fluid and get that movement going, these don't offer that, but they do offer the compression. Okay. I think that covers everything. Allison, yeah, please go ahead.
So a couple questions. So for the guide, I know you sent me the PDF. Is that available online? Like, is there a link that people can use to access it or?
Not at this time.
Okay.
We usually just give this to our therapists and our fitters. If a patient actually wants this, by all means, Allison, you can share it.
Okay.
Send it to them. I wouldn't put it online because again, it's really a guide for those that know what we're looking at. And I
Fair
said,
enough. Yeah.
yeah, because the patients, they may say, oh, okay. And then, but if anything, it's just going to cause more questions.
Yeah.
They can look at this and say, oh, I can find myself a Linda, and that's great. But if she's already in a stage 2 or 3, the Linda won't be good enough. She'd have
Right,
to,
right. It
right?
should be
So,
used alongside like the help of a practitioner. Don't just go and
exactly.
self-prescribe yourself a Linda or yeah,
Yes.
fair
Or,
enough.
or she's layering. She's got the Linda, the Liane, and then the pad. Like that's a lot when she could just wear the lympho long. That's one garment. And also costs associated. They're not crazy expensive, but it all adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that kind of leads into my next question too, which is how people can access the products. So,
Hmm.
I told you we discussed last year, my mom had or has breast cancer. And so I think you had recommended like the Linda for her potentially. Would she need to get a prescription? Would she need to go to an authorized garment fitter? Do you have
Yeah.
authorized sellers? What does that all look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, some areas do prescribe, okay, and those therapists and doctors that or surgeons that we deal with, they do prescribe, but it's very spaced out in the country. Those that are very savvy and are willing to prescribe, they do. Those most don't, not at this stage. And because if they're going to prescribe if it's a medical grade. Okay, so these are, stage 0, 1, even 2, it's not medical grade. So my recommendation is, they can go to our website, amoena.ca, and then at the top right, it says, find a retailer. And those retailers, and then they put in their city or postal code, and then the whole list will go up. And they're also ranked. So you can have 6 retailers, fitters, they're all certified. If they're
Okay.
not certified, they're not on our website. And then, most actually do their retraining every few years. Okay, so that they're assured of that. The ratings online will show if they have recovery care, lymph care products. And if they don't, it doesn't mean that they don't know about it and can help, especially if the woman's got one a kilometer away, other than maybe having to go an hour and a half away. They all have the information. They all can help. And if they don't have the product, they could just order it directly from us because we're a wholesaler,
Okay.
and they can troubleshoot with us if they have questions. So I think whoever they find online will be able to help. If they're on our website and they're listed as a certified retailer fitter, then it'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great to know. I'm just looking at my postal code right now to see what we have in Alberta.
Oh, there's really good ones in Alberta. Are
Okay,
you
yeah, I
are
see
you
them.
are you near Calgary?
Yes, I am in Calgary, so I see a
Okay.
whole bunch of them around me.
Yeah. So in Calgary, I'm not supposed to, um, I'm not supposed to favor, and we don't. But the one in Calgary that's known for helping women that have had breast surgery is Compassionate Beauty. They have everything, and their
Okay,
fitters are very well known. Yeah, yeah. Edmonton, we've got another one, but Calgary, that is the main one.
okay.
Their staff is very knowledgeable. They've been doing it for years. There's nothing they don't know. So Compassion Beauty, I would highly recommend. Lovely boutique too. I mean, it's very feminine, and yeah, women will be in good hands there. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. I
You're
think a
very
lot of
welcome.
the therapists that refer to this would have that question.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Miranda, you have a question?
Yeah, please.
Wonderful.
Thank you. That was super helpful. So I'm sort of in the beginning, preventative, maybe getting some heaviness in my arm, but I'm good chance thinking about staying flat. So do any of your um garments have like no pocket?
So is it flat, meaning do you have, because you've removed breast?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we do have one bra and it does have some texture, but it's not in
Yeah.
this category though, but
Okay.
it is
Perfect.
flat. So
Yeah.
it's flat. It's called Eliza, Eliza.
Okay, perfect.
And so Eliza is the one we recommend. It does have some texture, but if you're
Oh, good.
having a little bit of, fluid buildup,
Yeah.
then I would at least, try, and I don't know where
Yeah.
you have that problem spot, but try maybe with the pressure pad just to make sure you're
Okay.
preventing that,
That's what
because
I, yeah.
if you don't do that, you're right, it will get into the arm.
Yeah.
So just really pay attention to that. The only
Hmm.
thing about Liza, it doesn't come up as high as the Linda, for example.
Okay.
Linda, So the Linda, so I'll show this again.
Sure.
The Linda does have cups, but there's cookies inside. You can remove them,
Mhm.
but it does have a little bit of a form, to be
Right.
honest, right?
Yeah.
The Liza barely doesn't have, but this
Okay.
one is probably, in my opinion, the one you need.
The standard. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's high on the side, and that's
Right.
where the critical spot is. And then you've got the Sensolast technology, whereas
Yeah.
the Eliza is a textured bra,
Right.
flat, but it's for someone that doesn't have an issue. It's just an
Okay.
everyday comfort. You know, you can go if you're not far from Compassionate Beauty, you can go have a look. I'm sure they
Yeah.
have it. If
I'm in
not,
Edmonton. Yeah.
oh, you're in Edmonton. Okay,
Yeah.
in Edmonton we have Fit Essentials.
Okay.
Okay, and we also have uh, Gracefully Yours, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Gracefully Yours. Yeah, they're the two girls there, Sharing and Katie, are phenomenal.
Okay.
So you're in really good hands there, and that's all they do as well in Edmonton.
Okay.
Gracefully Yours.
Great.
They know their stuff. So
Okay.
you will find whatever you need there, and if not, they can definitely order or give us a call. But
Sure.
that's what I
Thanks.
would recommend. I would say try the Linda.
Yeah.
If you don't want any projection,
Yeah.
then you've got to remove the cups. But
Yeah.
it is molded very ever so slightly though.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
if you're feeling great and everything's good, then the Eliza bra is fun. You know,
Okay.
it's a fun little bra. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Any other questions? I know I'm like sitting in the dark now. I just noticed. So sorry. The sun went down while you were talking. This is, I think, so useful. I know that it is going to be helpful for a lot of people. It's a more of a niche product, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
the compression, the different companies that come talk to us are talking about the sleeves, and this is
Yeah.
something a little bit more special.
It is. Yeah.
So definitely appreciate that so much, Vula.
Yeah. And please share it. Let women get on our website. We also have infocanada at Amoena. They can email us
Okay.
directly. It actually comes into a folder that I have on my inbox. I, as well as our customer service lead, checks it every single day, a few times a day. So we're here to help, you know. We're here to help, and whatever we can provide information, examples of products, just solutions. That's what we're doing, right? This is what we're trying to do. So
Yeah, amazing. I will put that email address as well as the website link in the information with the video as well when we
cool.
post it and when we send it too. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to us or to Amona, depending on your questions.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we'll be, you and I'm sure we'll be in touch as well if we have anything that we need to work together on in
Yeah,
answering
I'd love
you.
that.
Yeah, but thank you again.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the invite, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. And also, we'll see you in a couple of months at least. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks. All
Thank
right. Good night.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
Allison. Take care.